Hi, Assalamualaikum everyone. I'm Izzah Afifah binti Ibrahim, metric number 1200933. In this video, I will share with you guys about renewable energy, policy, politics, and public opinion. Let's go! For your information, besides Malaysia, another country that I chose to study for this assignment is Saudi Arabia. So in this video, we will go deeper on policy in Saudi Arabia and Malaysia, politics in Saudi Arabia and Malaysia, public opinion in Saudi Arabia and also in Malaysia, importance of international agreement, and lastly, how public opinion evolve. Now, let's go to the first subtopic, policy on implementing renewable energy as the main source of energy.
Saudi Arabia relies almost entirely on gas and oil for its electricity since Saudi Arabia is the world's leading oil producer and exporter. Through the National Renewable Energy Program, NREP, the Saudi government plans to transition 50% of its domestic energy supply to renewable sources by 2030. The government conceived the Saudi Green Initiative, SGI, as a framework for the kingdom's green transition, in line with the core aims of Vision 2030. The initiative seeks to increase the percentage of renewable energy in Saudi Arabia's domestic energy mix, reduce the country's carbon emissions by more than 278 megatons per annum, help cut global methane emissions by 30% before 2030, in accordance with the Global Methane Pledge. What are the incentives for renewable energy in Saudi Arabia? There are a number of incentives available to promote investment in renewable energy projects under NREP, including 100% foreign direct ownership. In Saudi Arabia, the concept of 100% foreign direct ownership refers to a policy or provision that allows foreign investors or companies to have complete ownership of renewable energy projects without the need for a local Saudi partner or joint venture. Traditionally, in many countries, including Saudi Arabia, foreign investors were required to have a local partner or limit their ownership stake in certain sectors, including energy projects. Next, land incentives with subsidized leases for projects. Last but not least, Industry and Mineral Resources Ministry said it would provide tax exemptions and other facilities to companies involved in the production of electricity and renewable energy. Now let's move to Malaysia. The Malaysian government had, on the 19th of September, 2022, launched the National Energy Policy 2022 to 2040, NEP, with the following objectives: enhancing macroeconomic resilience and energy security, achieving social equitability and affordability, ensuring environmental sustainability. As part of the process, Malaysia is expected to expand renewable capacity from 18% to 30% of the generation mix by 2025. What are the incentives for renewable energy in Malaysia? To encourage green investment to achieve the target of zero net greenhouse gas emissions as early as 2050, the government has proposed an extension of the Green Investment Tax Allowance, GITA, and Green Income Tax Exemption, GIT, incentive application period until December 31, 2025. 100% GITA is paid on capital expenditures for eligible green activities. Meanwhile, under GIT, 70% income tax exemption on statutory income for eligible green service activities such solar activities. Other incentive is Green Technology Financing Scheme, GTFS. GTFS allows private companies to get capital to launch green enterprises. Last but not least is Large-Scale Solar Program. This program allows private firms to build, own, and operate large-scale RE generating solar systems. Then the renewable energy generated from solar plants will be sold to distribution licensees.
Next, let's continue with political issues regarding renewable energy.
There have been some political issues and challenges related to renewable energy in Saudi Arabia. These issues can stem from various factors, including the country's historical reliance on fossil fuels, economic considerations, and social dynamics. Some key political issues in the context of renewable energy in Saudi Arabia include balancing economic interests and policy implementation, The transition to renewable energy sources involves diversifying the economy and reducing dependence on oil. However, this shift can be challenging, as it requires considering the interests of numerous stakeholders, including oil industry and associated sector stakeholders. While the Saudi government has set ambitious targets for renewable energy development, the effective implementation of policies and initiatives is crucial. Ensuring a smooth and transparent implementation process can be a political challenge that requires coordination among different government agencies and stakeholders. Similarly to Malaysia, some key political issues in the context of renewable energy in Saudi Arabia include balancing interests and policy and regulatory uncertainty. There has been a challenge in balancing the interests of proponents of renewable energy with those pushing for the preservation of established sectors, such as fossil fuels. The stability and consistency of renewable energy policies and regulatory frameworks have been a concern. Frequent regulatory changes and uncertainties could discourage investors and hinder the expansion of the renewable energy sector.
Next, let's proceed to public opinion on implementing renewable energy as the main source energy. In Saudi Arabia, according to the findings from a study in 2022, majority of Saudi Arabians, the study population, was moderately aware of renewable energy. Although a majority of participants expressed an interest in adopting renewable energy, the high cost of renewable energy technology made it expensive for middle-class and low-income families. Next, let's move to Malaysia. According to a study in 2020, more than half of the respondents show no concern for choosing renewable energy, and about 63% of the respondents were unaware of the availability of incentives for renewable energy. The public was aware of the solar energy option but was hesitant to install solar photovoltaic panels after knowing the cost involved. How important are international agreements?
International agreements provide a platform for countries to come together and set emission reduction targets and commitments. The agreements allow countries to frequently analyze and review their progress, encouraging them to meet their commitments. One of the international agreements regarding sustainable energy is the Paris Agreement, which has entered into force in November 2016. The vision of this agreement is to create a sustainable, low-carbon future that limits global temperature rise, protects ecosystems, and ensures human and environmental well-being. It was adopted by 196 parties or countries including Thailand, Brunei, Saudi Arabia, Malaysia, and Indonesia. For climate change, some scientists portraying a serious long-term environmental concern as a coming threat, resulting in a serious opinion among the population. For renewable energy, public support for renewable energy policy has grown, with a focus on incentives, subsidies, and regulations to speed up the evolution. Lastly, for nuclear power, the Chernobyl disaster in 1986 led 62% of Americans opposed nuclear power by 1990. However, after Fukushima accident, nuclear power support fell to 38%, lower than coal, 48%, in a 24-nation study.
Okay, that's all from me. Thank you for your attention.